Hey everyone, Nettie Owens with Sapari Solutions, and today we're continuing our series on what businesses need to know right now. I've brought Wanda Turini with me to answer the question of what businesses need to know right now about being a guest speaker. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm very excited. This is a hot topic right now as more and more people are, going video and using the opportunities to be guests like we are on
Yes.
podcasts. And
yeah, podcasts are hot right now. So I'm excited to dive into this topic. And just to let people know a little bit about who you are, Wanda Turini, nerdy girl entrepreneur, love that title, and inventor of catchwords, which we're going to talk about, and founder of a million amazing ideas supporting entrepreneurs to really increase their visibility and create a pipeline of leads that are coming towards them. So
yeah,
there are so many amazing and interesting things in your background. I would encourage our watchers to check Wanda out on her LinkedIn page and check out her website because she is definitely someone that you want to know. But let's jump into our conversation for today. So we're talking about virtual summits, which have just exploded. In fact, I was speaking to someone about attending the live event I host, Momentum Live, and he said, he's got 3 other events at the same exact time. That's a lot. So we have the explosion of virtual summits, interviews, and guest speaker slots that are really just, kind of the way we're doing business and communicating and sharing right now. So if you are a business or wanting to be a guest speaker, how do you optimize that opportunity? What is it that you need to do to make the most of it, to connect with your audience, and to make it worth your time and investment of energy?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things is for folks to actually realize that it is part of the strategy, their business strategy, and not just look at it as like, oh, if I have time, I'll do this, or this is kind of a nice thing. I think people have, what's very interesting is understanding what our clients are talking about and their feelings around being a speaker, right? And sometimes they kind of feel like, speaking either is kind of gratuitous, like, oh yeah, well, if you're putting yourself out there, then it's like, who do you think you are, sort of thing. In other cases, people just love to blab and share their expertise, and they have fun with it and stuff like that, but they don't think of it as a strategic step. Right? So that is a major, major gap. And it's great that now it's a point of focus. But the other thing is that if you're refining your strategy now, it's going to help you forevermore, right? I mean, when things kind of loosen up and you're speaking in front of live audiences, you're still going to have virtual environments to be able to share your message, right? So it's kind of interesting for people to finally focus now, but I still see the kind of willy-nilly, like, oh, I'm starting this podcast. Like, you want to be a guest? And and it's just like, yeah, that's fun. It's like you're hanging out with friends, right? And we have to remember that as much as it can be fun, it should be fun, that you're doing it for your business, right? You need to stay alive. You're doing it to drive revenue, to drive awareness, to drive clients and revenue, right? And that it's okay to actually have a strategy and a plan around every single one of your engagements.
I love what you're saying here around creating a strategy around your engagements. And I remember conversations that I've had with you in the past, sharing, hey, I'm going to be doing this summit, or I'm going to be doing this interview. And you've outright asked me, well, what are you expecting to get out of that? What are you going to do? What's going to be on the other side of it? How many people are you going to talk to? And I have to be honest, I hadn't really considered that. So this intentionality around your speaking is important, and I can hear your passion about this subject. So what is it that has impassioned you to this topic?
Well, it's kind of interesting because it started in a non-digital world long ago when I was running my own consulting firm, and I would use speaking as an opportunity to generate leads. And in that world, what was really different and kind of like pushed me to try and solve the problem was it was pharmaceutical consulting. So my clients were pharmaceutical executives. And in order to speak in front of them at these live conferences, I actually had to pay for the opportunity to speak, because the people running the conference, they knew it was money, because speaking gives the perception of expertise, right? So they sold those slots, and I paid $10,000 for the opportunity to speak in front of these audiences. I mean, I was competing against PricewaterhouseCoopers, Deloitte & Touche, KPMG, all that stuff, right? So the point there is that because in order for me to play that game back then, I had to invest $10,000. I had to find strategy, right? To me, it was imperative. Like, I would see these people that were really not expert. They were representatives of the company, right? And they had like a canned talk, but they weren't really the experts, right? But their company paid $10,000 and they could give two hoots, as to whether it was like a measurable engagement. They were just like, people are aware of us, right? But for me, it wasn't about awareness. I was too small for that. Like, I needed to know that if you had a glimmer in your eye, if you were like, that's interesting, that I caught you, I captured you, right? And so that's how my service, Catchwords, was born, because by actually incorporating this texting technology that we created, I was able to offer the audience an opportunity to text for my slides back then, right? This was like 10, 11 years ago, actually, maybe a little more. But back then I was able to actually invite people to text for my slides. I was able to offer them the value of slides, because how many times do we have people taking pictures and trying to take notes like crazy, right? But it was the experience, the journey of refining that process. And at first I was collecting, let's say 25% of the audience would be consistently texting my catchword, which was phenomenal at the time. But what I realized is that by refining my strategy, I could actually optimize this tool, and I was able to get 76% of my audience consistently texting. So I knew now it was totally worth it for me to drop $10,000 every time to speak, because I was going to be rolling in leads, right? But it took strategy. So that was the beginning of my kind of my journey and my nerdy girl analysis of what could really make this work. Yes, I invented that technology, but tech is tech, right? And it's the strategy that allows you to wield the full power of the tool that you can use.
Well, and that's a really good point, because strategy without the technology also falls flat. And, you really do need both. So somebody's listening and they're thinking, I'm going to be a guest speaker coming up. How can they ensure that they're getting the best return on their guest spot? I mean, you're talking about strategy. What are some strategies to use, or how can they leverage that?
So if you have a guest slot already, let's assume, you have to really analyze who's going to be in the audience. Do they sit in your prospect? Are they an ideal prospect for you, or ideal clients, right? There's a difference. And when I train our clients, we kind of go through a whole thing, but strategically understand who's in your audience. And then most importantly, determine what is success for you, right? Is it downloads? Is it comments? Is it people texting your catchword, right? Is it what exactly will define success for that particular engagement? Now, my argument in being the inventor of catchwords is that every single video engagement should be presenting a catchword. It's an opportunity for people to learn a little bit more about your expertise, right? That especially when you don't have a lot of time, like in one of these quick interviews, right? And an opportunity for you to increase your know, like, trust factor, right? So it serves both the audience and it serves you in the sense that it allows you to understand who is really interested and hopefully serve them with more information. So
yeah, so what I'd love to do is just give people an opportunity to check out what you're talking about. You've dropped the word catchwords. I've mentioned that you're the inventor of catchwords. You said you invented this technology. So if people want to check it out, see what you're talking about, they can text leads. Just actually pick up your phone and go to the text app, put in 411321, or if you're international, 1-909-741-1321, and text the word lead. Send that as the body of the message. I am a Catchwords user, subscriber, so I'm familiar with how this works. It's going to ask for your email. and then you put that in. But if you want to check it out and get more information, I'll let you take